Hi, Alistair Weaver here for Edmunds with the new 2022 Porsche Macan. It's actually Porsche's second significant update of its diminutive SUV that debuted all the way back in 2014. Today we're going to find out whether the latest tweaks keep it competitive against such luminaries as the Mercedes GLC and BMW X3. Want to know what one of the biggest changes is to the new Macan? Piano black haptic controls inside, which never, ever look clean. Honestly, they're like caffeine for my OCD. Drives me nuts. But the fact that this is probably the second or maybe the third biggest criticism of the new Macan tells you just how good we really think it is. But before we get into review proper, please subscribe to our channel because it helps us have more fun. And if you're looking to sell your car, visit edmunds.com/sellmycar and we'll make you a cash offer. Now, let's get on with it. The version we have here is actually the Macan S, which at $67,000 sits neatly between the entry-level Macan at $56,000 and the flagship GTS at $81,000. Prices across the range have gone up. The S is now $5,000 more than before, and the range-topping turbo with a capital T is no more. Finito. But what about the much vaunted electric version of the Macan, I hear you say? Well, that's currently in development and will debut next year. But it will be an entirely different SUV, designed from the ground up to be an EV, much like the Taycan was. And what that means is that for the next few years, you'll have a choice between this aging rocker fueled from a gas pump and a new, young, upstart Macan filled from a plug. This car will likely soldier on until we no longer want or aren't allowed to buy gas cars anymore. It's a brave new world, my friends. When the Macan last went under the scalpel for the 2019 model year, it gained this horizontal strip of light that's now a feature of every new Porsche. This remains, but is joined by a black rear diffuser which helps improve the aerodynamics by controlling the flow of air under the car. At the front, the Macan gets a new mouth moulded from black plastic. It's a bit of a token gesture, as if the designers were told they had to change something. There are also some new wheel designs, but that's pretty much it. You'll have to be a proper Porsche geek to spot it on the road. As we discussed earlier, the bigger changes are actually in here. Now, you may remember in the old Macan that this center console was home to an army of different plastic buttons. But the problem was that unless you specified everything on Porsche's gargantuan options list, then you always ended up with a whole series of blanks. And if you spent over 60 grand on a small SUV, you don't really want to look like a cheapskate. So, piano black plastic it is. You also get a new steering wheel pinched from the latest 911, but it's a shame that they couldn't also borrow the screen from the sports car. The Macan's technology is actually a generation behind pretty much every other Porsche bar the 718, and what that means is although you can get Apple CarPlay to replicate the functions on your iPhone, there's no Android Auto. So if you're a Google fanboy, tough. The rest of the cabin is pretty much as it was back in the days of Obama. It still looks and feels great, although the impression of quality is boosted on this press demonstrator by $5,850 worth of optional leather with what Porsche calls deviated papaya stitching. Yes, that's almost $6,000 worth of dead cow to go hand in hand with the $1,500 worth of Race Tex headlining, that's kind of Swedish, and $1,700 worth of sport seats, which feel great by the way. And they're just some of the $40,000 worth of options fitted to this very car. Love those 21-inch wheel rims, they're almost $4,500. Don't let anyone tell you that this isn't a proper Porsche. The Macan's lofty price tag, with or without all the options, really throws into sharper focus its Achilles heel, the lack of space. Now, this front seat is set up for our 6-foot producer. I'm 6'4", and as you can see, it's not terrible. I can get my knees in, and there's plenty of headroom. But you'd really struggle to fit 3 people across this rear bench. But there's definitely less room in here than you'd find in a rival Mercedes GLC, not to mention larger alternatives for the same money, such as a Mercedes GLE. The trunk's also a bit pokey. With these rear seats up, you get 17 cubic feet of capacity, which is 2 cubic feet less than a Mercedes GLC, and that's the equivalent of an extra carry-on bag. If you really want to carry lots of full-size adults and their luggage, you really need to upscale to the Porsche Cayenne. But there is a flip side to those diminutive proportions. The Macan has always succeeded in feeling like a proper Porsche in the way that the larger Cayenne, to be honest, never really has. Even if you were trading out of a Boxster or a Cayman into the Macan, you could do so without, resenting your kids. For 2022, these driving dynamics have been enhanced by an extra dollop of power. This new S now boasts the same engine as the outgoing GTS, while the new GTS pinches its motor from the old turbo. While the moneyed enthusiasts might gravitate towards the ultra-sporty GTS, we reckon this S model might just be the sweet spot of the new range. Alongside those 375 horses, you also get 383 pounds-feet of torque from the 2.9-litre twin-turbo V6. Porsche claims 0 to 60 in 4.4 seconds if you choose the optional Sport Chrono package that's fitted to our car. That's about $1,200. And to be honest, Porsche's claims tend to be pessimistic. Honestly, for a road-going SUV with performance pretensions, it's a really nice mix. If you watch these videos regularly, you'll know that I'm a bit of a stickler for steering feel and precision, and nobody does it better than Porsche, even when you're talking about Porsche's SUVs. There's just a lovely linear feel to the steering that really helps you place the car accurately on the road, and of course its small proportions help as well. The whole thing has a real feeling of agility, poise, and just fun that, to be honest, no other rival SUV in this class can match, not even Mercedes' otherwise excellent AMG GLC. Every S-level Macan gets PASM as standard. Now, what that basically means in layman's speak is electronic damping. You can choose between a stiffer ride quality if you're really trying to press on, or a bit more comfort on the highway. It's a sunny day in California, so it's no great surprise that this car's displaying plenty of grip, but of course all-wheel drive is standard on whichever Macan you choose, so it's pretty handy in bad weather too. And this PDK gearbox, which I can never pronounce properly, so I'm not even going to try, is common to pretty much every Porsche now and remains terrific, whether you leave it in auto mode or whether you play with the flappy paddles on here. And on top of that, this car also has over $7,000 worth of extra performance gubbins. That includes air suspension, Porsche torque vectoring, that's a system that actually helps its agility in tight turns, and a Sporks exhaust that costs the best part of $3,000. I mean, it sounds great, but does it sound $3,000 great? Well, kind of depends how rich you are, I guess. If you doubt how important the Macan is to Porsche, then consider this. For every 718 Boxster or Cayman they sell, they flog 5.6 Macans. It outsells the 911 2-to-1, and 60% of people who buy them are new to the Porsche brand. Should you be one of them? Well, piano black plastic aside, this car really has two things running against it. One is the lack of interior space, and the second is, of course, the price. Most shoppers will end up spending over $70,000 on a Macan S. Now that's about $10,000 more than an equivalently spec'd and snappily titled Mercedes AMG GLC 43. But, and it is a big but, the Macan has always retained its value better than almost any other car. That speaks to its long-term desirability and the benefits of gentle evolution. It might be getting on a bit, but this latest trip to the cosmetic surgeon has only enhanced its appeal. The Macan is the automotive Jennifer Aniston, getting better with age.